Yo, what's going on? So, the lawn is recovering pretty well. Still not where I want it, but I think there's a few things going on which we'll explain today. And I've been doing a few little experiments with the ryegrass from when it first started, just to sort of learn about it because I don't know anything about it. And I'll just show you what I think has been happening and where I think I went wrong and where I think I could have done things differently. So stick around and we'll get into that. Cheers. Alrighty, so if you've been paying attention in the back of the videos, you would have seen some of these pots here. What this is here, this is ryegrass. Just the same seed that I used to oversow the whole lawn with. And I'll show you, I took a little picture. When I oversowed with this, heaps of the extra seeds ended up on the concrete, then they washed back into the edges and it grew really thick there. So when I was doing the edging, I pulled it out by hand and had these little clumps of ryegrass. So I planted them in this pot here, and you can see, I've put up a photo now. This is what they looked like when they first went in, and this is what those plants ended up spreading into, filling out this pot just like that. So, because when I was doing my oversowing, I was really, it was really hard to find information about just how big one single seed of rye would grow, and I wasn't sure how thick I should do it or how thin I should do it, and just to get the right amount of coverage. So I just wanted to have a bit of an experiment to see how it went. Now we've had days that are 42, multiple days, hot days. This sits in the full sun. It's got a tray obviously underneath it. I fill it up with water and it handles it fine. It's slowed down a bit, but still going. So pretty interesting. I guess if you've got unlimited water, you can definitely have ryegrass. So the next thing that I did was, out of the edges, I picked out one single seed that was growing and had rooted, and I put it in these little black tubes. So that there, about as round as say a tennis ball. That is one seed of ryegrass. That's how big it grew out to. So same, these just sit in water. Black pots attract a heap of heat, so they would be getting pretty hot, and they're quite warm now and quite dry, but they're still going all right. So I think, given how thick these get, I think that explains a bit of the thinner coverage I'm getting, and it really shows me just how the potential in the right conditions through winter, spring, winter and autumn, how ryegrass can really smother couch or any warm season grass, and it's really important to get the ryegrass dying or out mechanically by scarifying or something early on, and that way you can allow the couch to start spreading, or the kikuyu or whatever you've got. So I do have a few other types of grass growing there. There's some like a hybrid dwarf couch, which I've just been cutting with some scissors. So that's spreading really well. And then the other one there is the one single little piece of tiff tuff that I took out of my mate's yard to grow, just to have a little pot of that too, so I can see the difference and muck around. Right, so if you remember this area here from a couple of videos ago, I was showing you where the ryegrass was and where the couch was. Now, I had sprayed the ryegrass, so it's nearly completely dead. I think it might need a little bit, maybe one more spray, just to really knock it on its bum. But yeah, this is where the ryegrass has really crowded the couch out, and as you can see, that size of one seed, you can see how it's completely smothered out the couch in a lot of areas. So it's pretty much like that in a heap of areas. Anywhere where I think, like when I was seeding, I'd come up to a corner or an edge and I'd stop, turn around and come back. Seed would get done double the rate there, and that just smothered it even harder. Areas like this where it's quite thin, because I would have been seeding, walking up here, turning around, starting it again and going back. So I've got double, triple, God knows how much rate there. And yeah, in those areas, just way too thick. And because I didn't spray it out soon enough, it actually has limited the couch's recovery. All things to learn, all cool things to learn, all cool things to know. Yeah, and like I've said, I don't make out to sort of know that much of what I'm doing. I just sort of trial and error, and having a go, I seem to be learning a lot. So you'll probably see some darker areas in the lawn. Now again, that's where the dogs have weed. I think there might be a small fairy ring starting there, which is good because I absolutely love them. They're just really handy. Yeah. So I'm gonna put some fertilizer down on this. I did put some fertilizer down when I did my renovation, which was a controlled release, the Trojan from Lawn Hub. But the next day we had 90km/h winds and it was 38 degrees and a heap of my sand blew off, and I was actually watching the yellow granules in there, the ones that last a couple of months before they break down. I was watching them roll off the lawn and disappear into the garden beds. So I'd say I got the advantage of the upfront nitrogen from that application, got it growing, and now it's been over a month. There's nothing else there to break down because it literally blew away. So any areas where it might be a bit darker green, could have been some hollows where the all the controlled release fertilizer could sit, or it just had enough leaf blade to grab it and stop it from blowing away. So I'm going to give it another fertilize today, nice heavy rate, and get it going. Now there's some blade there, the prill will be able to sit down in it and it won't blow away. This reminds me so much of last year where I totally forgot to fertilize the lawn. This time the weather screwed me. So when people talk about controlled release fertilizer, normally what it means is, can you see the different colors on here? So these white ones, these white pebbles, they'll break down instantly as soon as the water touches them. The maroni red ones will last a little bit longer, say a few weeks, and the yellow ones will again last another few weeks. So that's how it controls the release of it. It's just a coating that they put on the little balls, I think. So, but yeah, so don't be worried if you see some fertilizer left over. It's meant to be there, and that's why people get mini prill fertilizers, because this is not mini prill. You get really tiny little balls and they'll fall down into the canopy of really tightly packed low cut grasses. Otherwise you can sort of pick it up with a mower or it blows away. So that's on, fertilizer down, nice and heavy, give it a massive watering now. And I think there's a couple of areas that are a bit dry, like right down the back there. So I might have to do a bit of hand watering, keep on top of it. Cheers guys, thanks for sticking around. We'll be mowing a heap more now, I'll get this fertilizer on there. Then hopefully some plant growth regulator and the groomer, rapid growth, and lots of mowing. So awesome, cheers, thanks for sticking around. Sorry there's not much going on today, but this is all part of the process of learning what happens when you delay killing your ryegrass and it's actually choked out your couch grass. So I'm glad I'm practicing, just going to get better and better at it. And yeah, get out there, get stuck into your lawn and go and have some fun. Practice, learn, mess things up. But yeah, it's all good. And you deserve a beer afterwards. So cheers. See you guys. Bye.